What if I told you Maul isn't losing? What if everything falling apart, his crew turning on him, the Empire closing in, Inquisitors hunting him, is all part of the plan? Because Chapter 7 and 8 of Maul Shadow Lord, this isn't just the fall of Maul. This is the breaking point that creates something far more dangerous. And yeah, we finally got something fans have been waiting years for. Maul actually opening up. Well, kind of. It's still a Maul. Don't expect a therapy session. Did you catch everything in these episodes? Because there are some massive details you probably missed. Let's get into it.
This is the way. This is the way.
Welcome to Fatherly Fan. I'm your host Chris, and if you like Star Wars, deep dives, and all things nerdy, you're in the right place. So hit that subscribe button. Your inner nerd will thank you. And real quick, drop this in the comments right now. Is Maul becoming more dangerous or more human? Because after these episodes, the answer is not as simple as you think. Let's start with Chapter 7, Call to Oblivion. And right away, the Empire tightens its grip. Curfew, lockdowns, no movement. Janix is no longer a city, it's a cage. And Maul guiding Aara and Riley? Yeah, that's not help, that's hurting, and you can feel it. At this point, would you trust Maul? Because Aara clearly doesn't, and she makes a run for it. And that's when we see it, the old Maul. Patience is gone, sabers are out. For the first time in this series, he snaps. Then we get into one of the best lines. It was not the deepest wound. And if you know the lore, that's not just betrayal, that's about savage. That's about loss. That's about the trauma. Subtle, chilling, perfect. Alright, quick detail you might have missed, the way the lightsabers react with the water during the fight scene, that's actually a callback to the Clone Wars series. That's the kind of deep cut this show is pulling from. Then things escalate hard because Merrick was already a problem. Now we get the 11th brother, the Crow, and question who's more intimidating right now, Merrick or the Crow? Because together, yeah, that's a nightmare team. Meanwhile, Lawson and Daki, we get a quiet moment and it hits. Lawson admits he never believed the Jedi were traitors. That's huge, guys, because in a galaxy built on fear, that kind of honesty, that's rebellion. Then we get to the moment. Maul versus Merrick and the Crow. Waterfall backdrops, sabers clashing, absolute chaos, and somehow Maul is still holding his own. Even injured, even outnumbered. Then he drops to his knees. It looks like he's surrendering. And for a split second, you actually believe it. Then boom, cave collapse, classic Maul. Was that survival or strategy, guys? Because I don't think he ever even lost control. All right, my rating for this episode, just like all the rest, 9 out of 10 for me. And yes, it slowed down a bit, but that tension, that buildup, it's setting the board for something really big. And everything we just talked about, it's nothing compared to what Chapter 8 does, because this is where Maul stops being just a villain and becomes something way more dangerous. Now we move into Chapter 8, the creeping fear, and this is where the show levels up, because we finally go inside Maul's mind, and it's not a nice place, guys. Maul survives the collapse, barely, falls, spins, cuts through the bridge mid-air, kinda reminded me of that spin that Palpatine does against the Jedi in Revenge of the Sith. Low-key, this is one of the coolest sequences in the show. But now, he's broken, alone, vulnerable. Then we get it. The flashbacks, young Maul, Savage begging him not to leave, Sidious taking him on, training him, torturing him. Yeah, I didn't expect child torture in this episode, but we got it. Force lightning on a child? Let that sink in. And it's something I've always wanted to see. I wanted to see Maul's backstory in a show. This is a great first step into that. So question, does this change how you see Maul? Because this isn't just a villain anymore. This is someone who was created. Hot take here, this might already be the best version of Maul we've ever seen. Better than Clone Wars. Yeah, I said it. Then comes the moment. Maul sees his younger self, I hate you. And later, I won't let him do this to anyone else. That's not redemption, but it's evolution. And honestly, that might be more dangerous. Meanwhile, Two Boots, this arc's so good. He finally snaps, chooses Lawson, turns on the Empire. Anyone else out there getting K2SO vibes? Because yeah, same energy. Then we get Riley rescued, Lawson reunited, Aara pulling up clutch, Daki flexing his Jedi skills, then the chase, gunship incoming, Daki shuts it down instantly. Reminder, Jedi are still built different. They finally reach Rena, and of course, it's a trap.
It's a trap!
But she flips it. Explosion, sacrifice. Did you see that twist coming or not? Then the reveal. Dryden Voss, Crimson Dawn. This is huge because we're finally getting the connective tissue between Solo a Star Wars story and Maul. And now, Maul isn't just surviving, he's building something bigger. My rating for this episode, a 9.5 out of 10. This is introspective at its finest, and it's slower, but in the best way. This episode adds depth, it adds emotion, and adds meaning. All right, before we get into the theories, lock in your predictions right now in the comments. So does Maul win this season or lose everything? Because things are about to get crazy. All right, here's some of the theories. The biggest theory, Vader is coming. And if Maul gets too powerful, Palpatine sends him in. If this happens, it's not a fight, that's reckoning. Let's talk about Devon Azara's fate. She could join Maul, betray him, or even die. And honestly, Vader might decide that. Alright, Crimson Dawn Rising. We're likely seeing Shadow Collective become Crimson Dawn. This is the origin. But here's my theory. Everything's collapsing on Janix. So what if they all escape together? Maul, Rook, Vario, Lawson, Riley, Aara, not as allies, but out of survival. And that escape leads directly into Crimson Dawn. Alright, and you gotta talk about Malachor here. Malachor, that's an endgame. Not now, not this season, maybe a few seasons down the line. Honestly, with how much story is left, it makes total sense that season 2 has already been greenlit. It's officially happening, guys, which is huge because there's still Maul's rise, Crimson Dawn forming, Devon's fate, and possibly Vader, even Palpatine. This isn't the end, this is just the beginning. Alright, here's my final thoughts. Chapter 7 breaks Maul, Chapter 8 rebuilds him, not into something better, into something sharper, more focused, more dangerous. So here's the question, if Vader shows up, does Maul fight or run? Drop your theories below, and if you think things are intense now, just wait until Chapter 9 and 10, because if the theories are right, we might be heading towards Maul versus Vader. So thanks for joining the video today. Stay nerdy, my friends. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you next time.